Listen, contrary to many people's belief, add me to the list of non-believers. Boxing Ego, at this point in time, I do not believe that Terence Crawford versus Sebastian Fundora will be next. I'm going to explain some things in this video and break down why I feel like that. So as you guys know, Crawford was undisputed 2 times. Not once, but twice. The last time was at the welterweight division when he defeated Errol Spence. He brought 1 belt to the potluck. Errol Spence had the remaining 3. One of those belts was the WBO belt. And Errol Spence was, that defeat. He has a blemish on his record. Terence Crawford ended up winning, and he was the super champion with the WBO. He beat Jeff Horn, right? And he was undisputed. So with that being said, somehow this has given him magical powers to, as a champion, because he just beat Madrimov and is a champion, somehow he's being ordered to fight Sebastian Fundora. I've already been on record. You can listen to me or you can listen to Brand X, whoever you want to. I'm giving you my opinion. There's a lot of content creators who they try to sensationalize things, bunch of clickbait titles, low quality audio and visual quality, and basically rush out information and try to get information that is trendy and things like that. I am Boxing Ego. I don't have to do all that. I don't have to lie to you. I don't have to appease anyone. I'm my own boss. I'm telling you what I truly feel. And I think that should be a breath of fresh air for all you as boxing fans, that you can come to a channel. Do you believe in God? Then believe in Boxing Ego. Believe in Death Row East. You can come to a channel and I don't got to walk on eggshells or sugarcoat it or try to create a bunch of calamity and sensational. Like, I'm not TMZ, right? We're at the shocking headline and stuff. I don't have to do all that. But the reality is, I don't think this fight happens next. Several reasons for that. For one, we don't even know where Crawford's head's at. Crawford, instead of, after Errol Spence, you made the most money with them, with PBC in the Errol Spence fight. Then you leave and then you do a deal with Turkey and somehow say that the Israel Madrimov fight feels bigger than the Errol Spence fight, which is cap because it actually lost money. All the reports suggest that. The empty seats in a soccer stadium, people being mad in the comments about the Eminem concert and the pacing and the length of the show, all these things support that. The fact that they were comping out tickets and giving free tickets. You think PBC had to do all that to get people in the building for Errol Spence Crawford? Absolutely not. It was for Undisputed, and people have been asking for that fight. That's why the fight did over a $20 million gate. The Madrimov fight, no one even knew who that was. That definitely didn't do no $20 million gate. So you can already see what represents the bigger business. Now, as far as Fundora, you see the WBC right there. He's a 2-belt champion. There's rumors that he could fight Errol Spence. So I think that Sebastian Fundora, like his promoter has kind of suggested in the past, would elect to fight Errol Spence, which is a different style of fight that Errol Spence brings. But in addition to it, it's an in-house fight. It's readily available. It's easy to make. I told you the belts do not matter. The belts don't matter. They matter to some people. Like if you're a journeyman, yeah, you need a belt because that's your whole claim to fame. But a guy like Fundora, he's looking for probably a few things: money, legacy, things like that. You could get that with Errol Spence, who is a bigger branded fighter. You guys get mad, and it's so funny. The Bud Buddies get mad at me. That's cool, whatever. I'm not going to stop speaking my opinion. The reality is this. I think the Bud Buddies are truly upset because when Terence Crawford thrashed Errol Spence, they thought the big fish was over and the support for him would be over. And because Crawford beat him in a dominant fashion, that people were going to not support Errol or still rock with him. And it's funny because Errol's been branded so well and for such a long period of time. You have diehards where they're like, man, I don't care he lost to Terence Crawford. He lost to a great fighter, but I'm still rocking. It's still man down. It's still strap season. It's still the big fish. And I think that really, truly hurts the Bud Buddies because they thought it was on some Highlander-ish, where it's like you kill off your opponent and then you inherit all their powers. And for real, that didn't happen with Bud Crawford, right? His star power, partly because of his decisions, going to Turkey instead of maybe staying with PBC for a Jermell Charlo fight or any fight like that would have been bigger that PBC could offer. And then, you went a different direction. And now we don't even know where Crawford's head's at. We don't know what will happen. Sebastian Fundora, he stated that, he will fight anybody, including Crawford. I don't doubt that. But I think the business will actually be what makes the Crawford fight not happen. For one, I don't know where Crawford's head's at. I don't know what he's on, because it's sounding like from Eddie Hearn, he might retire if he can't get Canelo fight. Do you really want to fight this 6'7", lanky, slender man looking dude? Do you really want that? That's like, you got a taste of 154-pound division, and it wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweet at all. Sebastian Fundora is just a big, lanky inside fighter. You had to punch upward. You've seen it with the Erickson Lubin fight. Terence Crawford is not like big enough framed where this will necessarily be an easy fight. I think a lot of people are talking about like, oh, Brian Mendoza stopped him and styles make fights. Brian Mendoza is a guy who even fought at 160 and 154. Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. And I'm not saying Crawford would absolutely lose, because as you guys know, I don't even do fight predictions unless the fight is a done deal. So I don't really care to get too involved in making a prediction. However, I will say, I think there's a lot of people thinking that this is an easy fight. The fact that he's a 6'7", 6'6" inside fighter, and he has some power and he throws combinations, I don't think this would be an easy fight. Even in the Mendoza fight, I think Fundora was up on the cards. I mean, Brian Mendoza was taking some heat. There was some heat rock that he had to accept in order to get that victory. And then he kind of turned things out with one punch. So I don't even know how much Crawford truly fancies this fight, to be honest, because it's just a big, lanky, tall dude. And as far as paycheck, you got to work with Al Heyman and PBC, which Crawford don't seem too fond of. And I don't even know what type of money this fight would present versus like you want to fight a Canelo and things like that. So for many reasons, I don't think this fight even happens next. I think it just doesn't. We'll see ultimately what happens. There's a lot of people, and they're putting out messages where they're like, oh, this fight will happen, but I don't see it. I don't think Crawford is the easiest to deal with either in terms of negotiating. And I think that could be another issue. If anything, Fundora can vacate the belt, still fight against Errol Spence Jr. And this happens pretty much all the time. If you think about it, Jermell Charlo, pretty much, they announced when he made the decision to fight Canelo, after they announced the names, Undisputed versus Undisputed, they announced that, I think it was the WBO, was immediately stripping him of the belt. So that's kind of the same scenario. Jermell Charlo, for a big money fight and the opportunity to fight Canelo, he was okay with losing his belt at 154. Same thing with Fundora. Fundora can fight Crawford, who presents his own style and is harder to work with, or he could just vacate the belt and make more money fighting Errol Spence Jr. We'll see how it plays out. Subscribe.